Welcome back for another video. In this video, we're going to go over 3D Mill Lesson 14 tutorial. Let's go ahead and get started. So to draw this, let me pull this over. To draw this, it has a lot going on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing three rectangular shapes. And by the looks of it, we have one that's 125 thick, one that's 200, and one that's 200. So I'm just going to draw all three of those on the same level, and I'm just going to extrude them to different heights, and then I'll boolean them and create one surface, one solid out of them. So let's start by doing that. I'm probably doing this a little bit out of order. I think your book actually has you revolve this piece first. I'm going to do that last. So let's go ahead and begin. Let me bring that back up and drag it over so I can see it. Okay. So we have the first one is 2.5 by 4 5/8. So let's go ahead and draw that one. Rectangle, anchor to center. Width 4.625 by, what did I say, 2.5. 2.5. Okay, so there is our first rectangle. I'm going to accept that one. The next one is also a square rectangle, and that one is 4.0 by 2.25, and accept that one. And the next one is width of 3.0 by 1.875. Okay, check. All right, now I'm just going to put a radius around these. So you got a 1/4 inch radius around this one. 0.25. What did I do there? Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to pick the chain. That one, check. And 1/4 inch radius, check. All right. Okay, so there are our three shapes. And I am going positive here. I will then translate this thing down to a negative. I think your book actually has you do it in the positive. I always work, with the top being 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and extrude this. This first one, 0.4, it looks like it's 0.525 high. So let's go ahead and extrude that. Solids, extrude. It's easier to start with the smaller one and work your way out. Otherwise, this is in the middle of the solid. So it's easier to start with the smaller one and work your way out. All right, so let's go ahead and select that. Check. And we want to extrude that to a distance of 0.525. And we're going to create that body. Check. All right, and let's do the next one. Actually, let me create another level here for solids. All right, and I'm gonna right-click on this and change this over. Check. All right, turn that on. All right, now we're working on that level. So let's extrude another one. Check. And this one is getting extruded to 0.325. 0.325. We're going to do it as an add boss. Check. And the next one we're going to extrude 0.125. Check. 0.125, and it's an add boss as well. Okay, and there we go. Now we have one solid right there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to radius these while I'm here. It looks like they're 1/4 inch. Let me pull this over so everybody can see what I'm looking at here. Trying to figure out what these radii here are. Oh, right there's 0.125 typical. I guess maybe they're an 1/8 inch. So let's do that. Let's make them an 1/8 inch, see how that looks, see if it looks right. Okay, so if we go to solids and constant fillet, and I'm just going to pick unselect that. Well, it's very difficult for me to get that bottom without nope, can't do that. See if I can turn the body off, maybe get it. Nope. Alright, I'm going to have to select these one by one. So I have to select constant fillet. And turn this on, turn this off. So we'll just select around here. Sometimes it's difficult like this. You have to actually select them. There might be a way to do it, but rather than spend all the time trying to figure it out, sometimes I'll just go ahead and create it. Alright, so that looks good. Check that one. And I think we need to create another one right here. This one's pretty easy to create. Check. Alright. Okay, so that looks right. That's exactly what I want. Now I can go ahead and do that Revolve feature. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to create that Revolve feature on a different plane. So I'm going to go on the front plane. I'm going to draw from the front. So you can see my construction, everything's on there. And we are going to create this surface that we have here. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the top part of this. And I need to figure out how high that is. So we have an overall of 9.5 minus 5.525. So what I'm going to do is take my calculator and go 0.95 minus 0.525, and we get 425. So actually, I guess I can just go to the 0.95. Gotta bring up, there we go. 0.95, enter. Okay, and that creates that line. Alright, now that we've created that line, what we're going to do here, let me zoom in on this a little bit. What we need to do is create this line, because right here's our first rectangle, second rectangle, third rectangle, and then this is the top, coming off the top of our third rectangle. We'll add the radius to fill it like we did to the these here rectangles later on. So we're going to create this. It's at 0.8, so it's 0.8 from center, and I'm not exactly sure of the height quite yet. I'll probably just draw that in. Let me see if we have it over here. No, we don't. So what we'll do is we'll just draw a straight line up from there just to get it started. We're going to go with 0.8, comma, 0.525 as our start point. And again, I'll just draw a line up. And of course I need to connect these two. Oh, check that out. See how I snapped? So you gotta watch out for that kind of stuff. Let's get rid of that line. And go back to front. And we'll go 0, comma, 0.525. And we're going to 0, comma, 0.95. Alright. That looks a little better. Okay, connect those lines. All right, now we can, oops, front. Now we can create the rest of this. All right, so let's bring that up. And this is a lot. There's a lot going on in here. No doubt about that. So these are the center of radii. So we have to figure out where all these radii are at. So let's start with this one. So we have 50 thousandths radius, or actually it's a center of a 50 thousandths radius, I guess. And there we have a 125 radius. Yeah, there's a lot going on here, boy. Okay, so you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to create this one first. Actually, you know what? I'm going to look through the book. I get the feeling that these radii aren't called out very well in this. Okay, 50 thousandths. Okay, so it looks like all those are 50 thousandths, and all the externals are 50 thou. All the internals look like they're a eighth. All right, so I think we can work from that. Okay. Alright, so that first external is 50 thou, and to center it is 50 thou. So let's go ahead and create that one. Alright, so we need a radius of 0.05, and our point for that is going to be 0.9. Actually, check that. It's going to be 0.05, comma 0.9. And enter. That should be the center point for the first one. All right, and then our next one is going to be an external. That should be 0.4, comma, and it looks like looks like 0.8. So we're going to do 0.8. Enter. And then our next one is right here. That's showing the edges. So I'm actually not going to draw that one. I'm going to, I can draw it. What the heck? We'll make that one. It's going to be 0.75, comma, and 0.7. Enter. Okay, check. And then we have these 1/8 inch radii that we need to put in, these two right here. So let's go ahead and do that. Put this to 0.125. All right, and create our points. We have 0.3, comma, and this is going to be 0.85 plus 0.125, which would be 0.975. Okay, and last one is going to be at 0.6, comma, plus an 8, it's going to be 0.875. Enter. Okay, so now we just got to connect all these things. All right, let's trim this up. All right, so there is our profile. Now we're going to go ahead and rotate that. So I'm going to go to solids, and we're going to rotate that thing. Revolve. Check. And axis of rotation. Oops. Chains. There we go. And there we are. So we now have our solid. One mistake I did make was I didn't change back to my old plane. Actually, it might be easier to do that right now. Let me move all this stuff back. Move that to level 1. Oops. Check. Check. Okay, levels. Make sure we're still working on solids. And now I can revolve that again. Revolve. Check. All right. Check. Okay. Now I can turn this off. And I have my solid. Now I do have 1/8" internal radii that I need to create. So I have an 1/8" radius there that I need to add to this. I also need to boolean this. So I'm going to boolean it. Tool bodies here and here. Oops. I want to add. Check. Add. Now it's all one. And we can go to our constant fillet. Select this one. Check. 0.125. That's exactly what we want. And there is our part. So I believe that is all finished with the exception of 50 thousandths radius on the outside. I don't know if they actually have radii. It doesn't look like they do, actually. It doesn't look like they put radii on these. I'm actually going to put it on, as long as it's easy to do here. So I don't think they actually call for that, but I'm going to add it just to see what happens. It doesn't matter if yours has it or not. So I'm going to add to those two, and we're going to make it like that. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and move this thing. So I'm going to go to, transform, translate, and we're going to move this to 0.3125. Negative 1.25. Helps if I put the negative sign in front of that. And we're going to go negative 1.0. Check. Yes. All entities. All right, so that looks pretty good. Tool paths. What we're going to do is let's make a bounding box around that. Bounding box, lines and arcs. I'll leave it 0.95. Check. Because I don't really need my bounding box to be exact. I just want to make sure my stock is 1 inch. All right, so I'm going to select, actually I want to do all entities. And that's going to make this 1.0. Check. Okay. Stock setup. Want that at 0. Check. Perfect. Okay, so there's our part. Now we can go ahead and start doing some tool paths. All right, so let's go ahead and go into our tool paths, and we're going to do a pocket to rough this. By the way, you can use OptiRough for this. OptiRough is actually perfect for something like this, but they want to show you the pocket feature and how you do it. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to triple click this whole thing. Oh. No. Wonder why it only gave me that. Let me go back in there again. Propagate. Let's see. Tangent. Select feature. Triple click to select a solid body. Ah, I must not have clicked enough times. And selection. Attainment. We are going to go to C-plane and need to go to wireframe. And we're going to select that as our containment. Check. All right, select tool from library. Let's go to our aluminum. Open. Let's pick a 1/2 inch bull mill. So I have 50 thousandths radii in the insides and a couple on the outside. So I could do pretty much as big as I want to here. Yeah, for this one, I'm going to rough it with an 1/8 inch radius. And we're going to feed rate at 100 inches a minute. Spindle speed 12,000. Plunge feed rate 25.0. Rapid retract is on. All this stuff looks good. Tolerance, step down. Max step down's 0.1. Everything there looks pretty good. Depth cuts. Let's take a look at detecting flats there. Keep cut at max step down. Minimum actually, I'm going to do absolutes here. So I'm going to do like minimum depth. I'm going to make that like 0.05. Maximum depth cut, I'm going to make this 0.125. Auto detect flats, I'm going to detect the flats. Okay, so there we go. So now it sets it to whatever I need. So I'm going to hit check. Pocketing parameters. Let's do a constant overlapping spiral. And step over's fine. We don't need a finish on here. Yeah, we know. All right, so that looks pretty good. Let's take a look and see what that gives us. You see it finished most of it. This is just because of the step over that leaves that, by the way. You have this radius on it, so the step over is pretty extreme. What I could do is actually reduce that a little bit. What was our step over? 55. Let's go 30.0%. Yeah. Almost want to put the finish on just so it doesn't beep at me. Okay. So we got there. All right, so you see it reduced that quite a bit. And then we didn't quite get the outside of here. So let's take a look at some of our rough parameters here. Spiral inside to out. That's fine. That looks okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually stay outside and hit check and regen that. And we're going to hit play. Okay, so that looks a little better. So that looks awesome. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now let's go ahead and let's hit Alt-T, get rid of that. And let's do a contour. Select this. There we go, and selection. Containment. Stay contained within there. And hit check. Basically, that containment keeps it from machining the bottom, trying to machine the bottom of the part or anything outside of there. Let's go to select a... I can actually finish this with a bull mill, believe it or not. So let me look for a bull mill here. I need to go to my filter. spool mill, check. And let's do a 3/8 with a 30 thousandths radius on it. That'll allow us to get those 50 thousandths internal radii. So I'm going to pick that. We're going to run that at 100 inches a minute because we're hardly taking anything off anymore. And we're going to go 25 inches a minute for the plunge rate, 12,000 RPM. Everything there looks good. High speed, we're going to turn that on. Depth cuts. Once again, I'm going to detect the flats. Oops. Okay. That looks good. Check that. Maximum step down, we'll make that 0.01. And we're going to do one way. Check. Okay, so you can see here it finishes most of this. We just need to adjust a couple things here. So we need to go outside, check, regen that. All right, so you can see there it's finishing pretty much our whole part there. So let's take a look and see how that looks. So it looks pretty good. We're going to try and get it a little better though. So let's, I wanted to machine these flats. I want to finish machining these flats. So what I'm going to do is go into this contour and I'm going to turn on my shallow and set, that actually looks good. Limiting step, yeah, those look good. Okay, flats. Flats looks good. Step over in flat areas. 50 thousandths is actually low. I could probably make that 100. And outside looks good. I'm going to change this step down to 0.005. I'm going to try and get that finish a little bit better. Hit check. And let's regenerate that. See how that looks. It's definitely going to create more tool paths because now we've reduced the amount. Okay, so you see my step over in the flat area looks good, and then I'm really, really tight in those areas that need to be machined. All right, so let's see how that looks. I think that's going to look a little bit better. Yeah, check that out. So that looks really good. And that finish that we're seeing there, you know, these like kind of striations, that can be adjusted just by adjusting your step down. So you can see how much better it got just from that one. So that is it. That's all there is to it. If you have questions, as always, you can see me during class or, of course, get a hold of me during my office hours.